Hello again, friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching the first part of my fertility testimony. Thank you for the likes, thank you for the comments, I see them, and thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. My name is Lan, tall bespoke woman. So if you ever subscribe to my channel, please subscribe and hit the notification button so you can see when I post the other episodes. And if you haven't seen the very first part of the testimony, you need to click the link in the description, and I think the link is right up here, so you can catch up on the gist, so you know where we are coming from. So today I'll be sharing the second part of the fertility journey. This is one very vulnerable and personal story of pain and struggle of being childless, and how everything turned around and became a beautiful story of triumph. So where did we stop? Yeah, I remember. So I think we stopped at little did I know that the joy was not going to last. Yes, that joy was short-lived. I can't really remember the day of the week it was, but I remembered I texted my husband, who was at work at that time, that I was having this very intense feeling that something was wrong, or is it that something was not right? And he was like, "Are you okay? Is everything fine?" I said, "Yes, I am okay." But even though I was having a very little, very slight spotting, and when we asked questions, we told that's okay, that's not a problem. My next prenatal visit was going to be 2 days from that day. So my husband told me, "You know what, we can just chill and go to see the doctor in the morning." I'm like, "No, I don't want to wait. I lost my patience. I just lost my patience, and I wanted to know right then that our baby was fine." So when my husband got back from work, I told him I was going to the ER, like emergency room. What is wrong? There was really no symptom. I couldn't pick anything that was wrong, but my intuition was just so strong and so banging. And I told my husband, no, I wanted to go to the ER. It was like, "We can go in the morning to see your OBGYN," and I'm like, "No, I was gonna go." I didn't fall, I wasn't bleeding, I wasn't in any pain, but my spirit wasn't at peace. So we were praying, but I insisted I was going to the emergency room. So we left for the emergency room. When we got there, of course, I was already showing. Well, I think I was about 15 to 18 weeks, give or take, at that time. So we're asked why we came, what's wrong, but because I didn't really know what to say, because really what I felt was my intuition, I didn't have any symptoms. So I just told them that I was kind of bleeding, so I just decided to come in to check. They said it was fine. They ran checks, and then they sent us to the sonogram room. And while the sonogram was being done, I saw the way the beautiful lady that was in the sonogram, I saw the way she was acting. So I just knew something was not right. So I now asked her, "Is everything okay?" And she was like, the doctor will speak to you." I was already very uneasy, and I didn't want to hear anything negative. Even though I knew it within me that something was definitely wrong. You know, when you're having a sonogram done, there is a screen that you'll be watching. And as I watched our baby on the screen during the sonogram, I just saw a kind of stillness. You know, when you look at a screen and you can see that there was no life. You know, when you look at babies, you see gestures, you see movement, kind of But in this case, it just looked like a sleeping baby. I was super disturbed, but I felt peace. I felt a kind of peace, like it was a strange peacefulness. Even though I knew something was wrong, but I felt a strange peacefulness that I was now in between choosing peace, the peace in my spirit, or the trouble in my mind. Okay. A couple of minutes later, the doctor came in. Kind doctor. I still remember every of her gentleness. So she told us that they couldn't find our baby's heartbeat. Trust me, I didn't hear anything else after that. But my husband told me the rest. I was lost in my thought. Like, how? How do you move from waiting for 5 years at that time to starting an infertility treatment, and then to having a miracle conception, and then to this? Like, how? I couldn't even process anything at that time. So my husband told me that the doctor said we needed to go to my OBGYN in the morning, and that the results of every test they've done has been forwarded to my OB and my primary physician, and that we will need a surgery like ASAP to remove our baby's remains or something. So we left the ER, and while we were in the car, we prayed in tongues till we got home. I was so sure that that report was going to be overturned by money. I knew that God wasn't going to open my tubes, reverse all the diagnoses we had, and then watch me lose his gift. But then, God's ways aren't our ways. The night was so long. Though, I think we got home around 3:30 a.m. from the ER. Yeah, 3:30 a.m. from the ER, and the OBGYN office appointment, like we needed to be there by 9 a.m. That was like 6 hours. That 6 hours was like 60 hours. We couldn't wait for money to dawn. So the money came and we went to the OBGYN, and of course here I've sent the report to them on my primary physician, and I could remember the straight face of my doctor and the documents on a table for us to sign. They already got documents, like we needed to sign consent and surgery related documents. Things were happening so fast, too fast for me to even process what was going on. You know, I was looking at my little precious baby born and how we waited for 5 years to carry it, and then how we will need a surgery to remove the baby, or else, you know, there could be bad infection which would become life-threatening. Honestly, I was stuck. I didn't know if I should have faith. I didn't know if I should. I was just stuck. I was stuck. I was just so confused. And they told us they needed to send me to the surgery room by the next morning. I had 1,000 of questions on my mind. Like, I had so many questions for the doctor. I told the doctor, but I was here for prenatal visit, but I didn't fall, but I wasn't sick. How does a living child just become dead? A living baby just become dead? What could have caused it? I didn't even allow the doctor to answer one question before I asked the other one. My husband held my shoulder tight with one hand, and he had his hand buried in the other hand. Like he had his hand on my shoulder, like holding me tight, and the next one was like this. We believed in God. We knew if we prayed, the report would change, but then they didn't. I asked God questions. I asked God a lot of questions, but what I got was peaceful silence. I don't know if you've experienced when you pray, you're like, God, wait, but it was just silence. So I signed the papers and we agreed to go into surgery the next morning. I had so much in my head. I felt many emotions. Can I call it shame, anger, guilt? You just name it. People had seen my bum. What will I say happened? People knew I was pregnant. How do I explain the loss? Let me not forget to tell you that I was married to a first male child and the only son of his family, whose father was late. Should I say that again? I was married to a first male child and the only son of his family, and his dad was late. You know what that means in an African setting? That was me after the surgery in the recovery room, telling my husband that I wanted to see them. What was I even thinking? Them? Was it? Were we going to have twins? It was one baby, not two. So apparently this was what happened. Prenatal visit are usually once in a month for the first trimester and a part of the second trimester. So apparently our baby has been dead for about 4 weeks, because I remember when we went to the ER like 2 days to my next prenatal visit. So in our case, it wasn't a miscarriage, because most miscarriages have like bleeding as symptoms. But in our case, it was more like, can I say, like a missed miscarriage in which the baby is dead, but the womb didn't expel the baby. So there was no symptoms, and it can only be detected at a routine check, like a routine visit. The hardest part wasn't what has happened. The hardest part was the days after.